This is really good. You can hear, even the squirrels like it. I'm not gonna give many. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to G-Rod Grills. My name is Gerardo. Today I'm gonna be doing the third and last part of our 3-part rib video series with Bradley Smokers using the 4-rack digital smoker here you see behind me. The first 2 videos we focused on 3-2-1 rib, which was 3 hours smoked, 2 hours wrapped, 1 hour sauced. The second one was a 2-2-1 rib, which was 2 hours smoked, 2 hours wrapped, 1 hour smoke, or 1 hour with sauce. And this video is no wrap. We're just going to go straight up, no wrap rib the entirety of the cook. It actually yields such a good bark on the rib altogether. It looks fantastic, but it is a very different type of rib when you eat it at the end. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you which one of the 3 methods I prefer and which one of these 3 cooks I really enjoyed the most. So, you ready to get going? Let's go. Here we go. This is the one that we're going to do as no wrap at all. This beauty's gonna go nice low and slow the entire time. We're gonna build a nice beautiful bark on it and it's gonna be amazing. Same as the other ones, this one started off as a full spare rib, so it would have had the sternum and some of the little meat flops on the side. I've trimmed it all down to about an 8 to 9 bone rib, and kind of gotten rid of some of the bigger pieces of fat that are attached to the ends here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the membrane just like we did on the other ones. And again, this is a somewhat of an easy process. Take a little bit of paper towel, kind of work the corner out, and once you've got it worked out, the paper towel just kind of helps you get a grip on it. And once you've got it, you can just kind of pull away, and it should, in most cases, just come off. Again, we're going to do this just like we did one last time, just like we did with the other ones. Yellow mustard as my binder. Again, you don't have to use your binder at all. This is just to help me kind of get my rub to stick. Here's my kind of homemade rubs, a little paprika, some salt, some onion, some pepper. You got some brown sugar in there as well. You want to start with your finer rub first, so this one's a little bit finer than you'll see with the other one. Just kind of get it nicely coated. Make sure you get your ends. Next, I'm going to use my coarser rub, which is my party rub here. And again, coarse rub on top, that helps with the bark formation. And then press in your rub, make sure it gets right on the meat. Press it in, don't rub it in. Give this a flip. Do it all over on the other side. Mustard. And then we do it one more time. Now, St. Louis cut ribs, they're so much meatier than back ribs, I find. They give you quite a bit more. They're also a lot cheaper. And if you buy them as spares and trim them down yourself like I have here, instead of buying the full St. Louis cut already, you're gonna save yourself some big money. You're not paying somebody to do the work for you. And I'm telling you, it's super simple. You wanna learn how to do that, I do have a video on my own channel, G-Rod Grills. So if you head over to youtube.com/GRodGrills, you can have a video that you can take a look at one of my rib videos there. I show you how to trim this down from a spare to a St. Louis cut. And it's just super simple. And hey, why not save yourself some money while you're at it, right? So now we're going to use the party rub here. And that's it. That's all she wrote on this one. So next, what we're going to do is, same as we've done with the other ones, it's going to sit on the counter for about 15 to 20 minutes just while I get the Bradley up to temperature. Once we've got it there, you'll see the meat kind of starting to sweat. The sugars and the salts will melt into the meat and permeate into the meat and start kind of releasing the moisture out to the top. We want that moisture is going to help with that smoke adhesion to the meat. And it's just going to be absolutely fantastic. So I'll show you when we're ready to put it into the smoker. All right, here we go. So it's been about 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so since I last seasoned this. You can kind of see, hopefully you can see in here, The meat's starting to sweat. Those sugars have pretty much melted into the meat itself, and they're starting to kind of just, moisture starting to release up to the top. So that's exactly what we want. This one here, we're not going to wrap at all. This is going to go smoke for about 4 or 5 hours or so, and we're going to spritz it after the first hour. Give it a little spritz just to make sure nothing dries up. And I'm not going to follow a schedule on this, but I am going to check it every half an hour to 45 minutes to see where I'm at in terms of dryness. If it needs a spritz, I'll give it one. My spritz is 50-50 apple cider vinegar with apple juice. You can use water if you like. I like just apple juice. We are using apple biscuits in this in the Bradley today. We're using these guys right here. So apple and pork, I find, go really, really well together. So that's what I like to use. So let's get them in there. I'm gonna put it up top here. You can put it any rack you'd like. I'm putting it at the top because I've got other ribs going on today. So this one here, give it a squeeze to make sure you keep it as tight as you can. Get all those bones as tight as possible in there. And that's it. So I'm gonna come back in about an hour and then get a look to see if it needs a spritz. If it needs one, we'll give it one. And then after that, I'm gonna check it about every half an hour or so, all the way through until it's finished. Back in a bit. All right, so it's been about an hour or so. And let's have a look at these ribs. They're still not looking too bad. I'm not gonna spritz them. I'm gonna give them a little bit more time here before we need to spritz. They're still looking pretty moist on the top, so no need to really do much to it. We'll let it go for a little bit longer. I'll come back in about half an hour, 45 minutes. Give that a check, make sure we're doing good. All right, so it's been about half an hour or so. It is looking a little dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little spritz. This is our no wrap rack. We're just spritzing with apple juice and apple cider vinegar mixture. Starting to get a little bit of darker on the corners here, so we'll just have to keep an eye out on that. For, I'll come back in about half an hour, so just make sure I keep a good eye on it to make sure that it doesn't burn on me. All right, so we're about 3 hours into our no wrap cook here. You can see here it's looking pretty good, pretty darn good. A little bit dry on the top, and this guy, there's really not much we're going to do to it. We're just gonna kind of spritz it the whole way through. I'm just gonna give it another little. It's looking pretty good though, so I think I'm going to, in about half an hour or so, I'm going to come back and give it another spritz and maybe just spin the rack around a bit so that I can get some even cooking on both sides here. But that's pretty much it. We'll come back in about half an hour. Really not much to do at this point. We're just going to keep doing this, and I'll show you what we do to check for tenderness. All right, here we go. So now this guy here, this no wrap rib has taken a lot longer than I had anticipated, but it looks like it's finished. If you can see there, it's got this crazy dark bark over top, and that's just because we didn't wrap it. We didn't kind of sauce with anything. We haven't done anything with it yet. It's created this really nice bark all the way around. I'm going to show you how you can tell that this is tender and it's ready to go. So the big thing with ribs is you want to make sure that they're tender. Otherwise you get this kind of chewy, snappy rib, and nobody likes that kind of stuff. So this is how you tell. For one, you can grab your rib and do this with it. See how, first of all, I don't think you can see, there's all these juices kind of coming out, and it just wants to bend all the way down. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Wants to bend, and whichever way I grab it, it's going to do the same thing, because this is done. This is a perfectly done rib. Right? So fully done there. That's one way to tell. Another way, if you have an instant read, you're not going to take a temperature, so don't even worry about the temperature. Just going to go between the bones, and that probe should go in and out with zero resistance whatsoever all the way through, and that's exactly what it's doing there, like a hot knife through butter. Oh, except for when you hit bone. And that's it. So that's what you're looking for. Don't worry about a temperature. You're looking for tenderness. When your rib can do this without snapping, you're ready to go. Looks like I got a bone poking out now because I've been playing with it too much, but oh well. So this is ready to go. I'm gonna take it out of here and let's have a taste. here we go. The last of our 3 rib videos is the no wrap video, and that's what we've got here in front of us here. This beauty you can see here went on the smoke for a lot longer than I anticipated it would be. I had thought it would be about 5 hours. We were closer to about 7, 7.5-ish hours, I'd say. And but I mean, I think it's gonna be worth it. You can see the bark on this has formed quite a bit more. I spritz it just about every half an hour, 45 minutes or so after the first hour. And the big key there is that you're not spritzing too early so that this rub doesn't wash away. And as you can see by the way that bark's kind of formed, it is just perfect. You know, again, you know, your bend, I'm missing a bit of it here, but you know, your bend test, this is perfect. This is exactly what you want out of your rib. You want to be able to bend that way without actually ripping apart. Just don't bounce it around too much. It does rip eventually. Just to kind of recap, this is part 3 of a 3-part rib video. So if you haven't caught up yet, if you haven't seen the 3-2-1 video or the 2-2-1 video, get on over to Bradley's channel and look through their videos. You should be able to see part 1 and part 2 of this. 3-2-1, we smoked for 3 hours, wrapped for 2, we sauced for 1. 2-2-1, we smoked for 2 hours, we wrapped for 2 hours, and then we sauced for 1 hour. And now this one, part 3, is the no wrap. So we didn't wrap this at all whatsoever, just spritz, no wrap. So without further ado, I'm gonna cut into this beauty here. For sure, even just cutting through, you can tell there's a bit of a difference in the bark and how that kind of comes through. But let's have a bite here. The flavor, absolutely fantastic. You can taste all that smoke. One thing I didn't do with this rib is sauce it. I didn't think it needed it. I wanted to see the bark. I wanted to keep that bark and just kind of see it. Taste it. I didn't want to soften that up. Well worth it for sure. It's a toss-up for me between 2-2-1 and this one. There are so many aspects of this rib that I really like. One, the bark. It's just so good. Like, it's that nice little crust that's formed on top. It tastes so good. You can taste those rubs. You really get all that flavor. You get a lot more of that smoke. If you're team no wrap whatsoever, absolutely nothing wrong with that rib. No wrap tastes really, really good. You really taste a lot more of the rib flavor. You taste a lot more of the smoke and the spices and everything else that kind of went into the work. It's there. You do the work for the bark, and it is definitely noticeable. But for me, for this guy, for G-Rod, 2-2-1 is my favorite of these 3. I think it gave me the most tender bite, the juiciest bite. You know, all the same flavors were there, but the bark is great, but I don't know if it's worth it. In the end, I feel like the 2-2-1 wrap, you know, 5 hours cooking ribs versus 7 hours cooking ribs. I'll take 5 any day, especially when that bite was so good. I mean, not good. I'm still gonna eat all of this. This is really good. You can hear, even the squirrels like it. I'm not gonna get many. Well, that's all I've got for you today. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you wanna see more of it, make sure you hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any content. If you wanna see more of me, head on over to youtube.com/GrodGrills and you'll get to my channel. You see a lot more of my videos there as well. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell in there as well. Until next time, I'll catch you on the next G-Rod Grills.